All right, my friends, now we're recording. We were just talking about Dale having kind of contributed to the name of Karma and Effect, and we were talking about our Spotify Wrapped a little bit. Who isn't right now? I wanted to have a look at mine and see where I was.
I was a
I
little
get to boast
surprised.
that like top 0.001% or whatever.
I was a little surprised. My top song was Illusion.
Those are my top 5 as well.
For the first time ever, my number one song is not a Seether song. It is The Emptiness Machine by Linkin Park.
Oh yeah, great song. Not even my favorite from the album, but still solid.
Yeah, I don't know what my favorite from that album is.
I loved Two-Faced, and this might sound a little wussy of me, but I really liked Good Things Go. I thought that was a good ballad.
It's a fucking great song. Illusion is my number 5.
Let me see what it was for me. It was either 3 or 4, if I remember correctly.
I've definitely got some other bands that I see in like the subreddit and stuff in my top 5. Linkin Park and Stained are in there. Stained kind of surprised me.
Looks like my top 5 was, of course, Judas Mind was number 1, then Try to Heal, Illusion, Regret, and Let It Go from Parabellum at 5.
None of those surprised me at all.
Great songs.
It's a little surprising to me, actually, because kind of the way you reacted to the album.
Well, I love about like half of it now, but the other half not quite as much. Yeah, I was kind of in that crowd with Mechanical Monkey and Nightlife and some of the other guys who hated it right away. But
mine was unrealistic in the other direction. I listened to it, and the lyrics hit me so hard and so personally. I was like, oh my god, this is the greatest fucking thing that has ever graced the earth. And I remember talking about it, and I was so fucking hype, and I came back later, and I was like, sorry. It's definitely a little bit flawed.
Well, to be fair, I do think it is their best album lyrically, and before that Parabellum was. I think Sean's just become a much better lyricist over time.
Yeah. Some of those songs are they just fucking hit me. I mean, I love Regret and Illusion and Judas Mind. All just great songs lyrically.
Absolutely. Even a song like Semblance of Me, which sonically I'm not like crazy about, the lyrics are really good in that one.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, we were talking earlier about little fake accounts running around in the community. We had another one with Sean Koss recently that you just mentioned. Seether's artist for the last couple albums. I have seen so many copycat or like fake Sean Morgans, especially over on like Facebook and stuff, where a lot of the user base is kind of too old to be like aware of that sort of thing. It's worse in this band than like any other that I follow, I feel like.
It happens a lot on Instagram too. Like I've had several accounts try to follow me that will be called like John Humphrey Official, but they'll have like 7 followers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've even seen a fake Sean Morgan's mom account.
Fuck. Bro, that is so sad. Like, and you couldn't pick a worse guy to try to imitate because the man fucking despises social media. Like, he's written whole songs about it. Like, that was the inspiration for Wasteland, and I'm sure several others too.
Well, did you hear the story that in the early days of Twitter he was on it, but he kind of fell prey to. We've all been there where we like kind of fire back at some of these assholes and stuff, and he just realized, okay, this is not for me.
Yeah. I remember he posted a couple of pictures on Instagram too. I think he was in Germany and he was like taking pictures of like some big cool ass church. He's got great usernames, Spawn Morgan and Sour Hangman. Very clever.
I thought he was funny in those like Reddit AMAs.
Such a dick.
Surprised there hasn't been more. The 2021 one was very like insightful. Chris, you actually asked a few pretty cool questions. We found out that Emotionless was what he called their most underrated song, which I would actually probably agree with that, or it's at least right up there.
Yeah, I could not control myself in that one. I had so many questions I wanted to ask. I think I asked probably like 5 questions.
Mm-hmm. I it's weird because I was all over the subreddit at the time, but I didn't catch wind of that one. I missed it sadly.
I remember one of the things I asked him was, what are some things that he might be interested in covering, or is he at all interested in doing covers? And the answer is no, not really, because they've already got too big a discography, to choose from for our live sets. Of course, I want to see him give us like some 2-hour sets, but that's not going to happen.
Hour and a half at least would be nice.
Yeah. What would y'all like to see them cover, or is there anything?
Ooh, well, I'd like to see them kind of go outside the box more, like when they did Jumpsuit. And that's not even my favorite song in the world, but they just really did it justice. And yeah, maybe I could see them doing more like pop or indie type of stuff. Because I mean, all the like Nirvana and Pearl Jam songs, like we've been there before. So
Yeah.
I just kind of want to see like them doing like modern songs and making them better. That'd be cool.
Yeah, they're really good at taking a song and putting their own completely different spin on it. Like they covered famously Careless Whisper. They covered I've Got You Under My Skin by Frank Sinatra. They covered Change in the House of Flies by Deftones and made completely different songs out of all of them. I love to see that.
All the Nirvana ones stay pretty true though. Like when they play Lithium, it sounds like just like it.
Yeah. And I definitely like seeing that. I caught it a couple times. I think the last time I saw them play Lithium was in like 2014 in Birmingham.
Their early cover of like "You Know You're Right" was like insane. Like it could have been Kurt Cobain.
Yeah. I never got. If I try to see it like in some of those covers and stuff, or if I really look for it around like the disclaimer days, I can kind of hear the Kurt Cobain similarity if I try to, but I never understood people saying Sean sounded just like him. I think they sound completely different.
Maybe not completely different, but they're both distinctive. Sean definitely has more like that raspiness, or they call it that post-grunge jarl, especially back in those days.
Yeah, I suppose so. Let's see. You don't have any covers on your wish list, Chris?
It's a little different, but I think Lemon Tree by Post Malone would be kind of interesting.
Oh, Sean would do it too. I feel like he'd go for that.
Probably. Yeah, I could see them doing some corny shit. Like they would probably try to do like a Billie Eilish song down the road just to be like topical.
Can you imagine Sean Morgan, Billie Eilish perform like, I don't know, fucking Broken or some shit? What would that even sound like?
It would be whispered.
I guess.
Like,
go ahead.
Or maybe he could have Lizzo join him and she can scream Amy Lee's part.
Yeah, that'll do. Shit. I would like to see. They've covered a couple Stain songs before. They did. It's been a while, and they might have done Please. I can't remember. I think it would be kind of neat to see Sean do a really, really bitter take on Outside. It's already a very kind of depressing or even kind of angry song. Maybe instead of changing it, he takes it and takes that vibe kind of to its extreme somehow. That'd be neat.
What about a Tool cover?
Oh, I don't know what I would want to see.
It's funny. It's something I never really think about because I'm always just so focused on the discography. I never really think of anything outside of it. My focus is always just like, can you play that deep cut or can you play that deep cut? I'm like never thinking of covers.
Sean says he doesn't play covers anymore because he's got too many deep cuts and shit to play, and then proceeds to not play the fucking deep cuts. Give us one or the other.
But when they do covers, they're incredible. Like, I mean, a great example is like Immortality on One Cold Night. That was a great take on that song.
Yeah. I just wish they would put some of the ones that they've done to studio. Like that Frank Sinatra cover is so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe record it. Give me that. I'll listen to it.
That whole album was kind of a letdown because it's like really short. That like iTunes original one, but I do really like that like bluesy version of Fake It. That was a nice touch.
Yeah, that was cool.
I like Truth from that album.
Oh yeah, me too.
They always do Truth awesome live. And it's not even like a favorite of mine. Like it's a cool song, but they do it better live, I think.
I wish that some of these like extended songs live would be translated to studio. Like we were in the subreddit talking about Words as Weapons recently, and there's one performance that we were talking about that's got like this really nice little scream to cap it off at the end. And there's another one, I think it was like Open Air Gamble, maybe like, I don't know, 2015 or something. And it's got like this really long little extended intro that just does so much for the song. Please record that.
Yeah, it's really weird how during pretty much only the Isolate and Medicaid era, they were pulling out all kinds of deep cuts from that album and really putting everything they had into it. And then after that, you'd be lucky if you got one deep cut from an album.
Yeah, we certainly aren't getting any from Surface, and I don't know if we got any from Parabellum either. They did do that one acoustic rendition of Buried in the Sand, and I really enjoyed it. I think Buried in the Sand is a very underrated song.
I agree. That's definitely like a sleeper song of the album, one that you don't really notice, but that chorus is like one of the best I think they've ever done.
Yeah, I love the rhythm guitar as well.
Speaking of guitars, other than the obvious, because everyone would just say Pat, do you guys have a favorite like lead guitarist in Seether? That can include Sean, and it can include like touring guitarists, just not Pat.
You go first, Chris.
Is it lead guitarist?
Yeah, and Sean can count because he's like done leads on like Finding Beauty and some other albums.
I don't know. I don't want to be lazy and say Sean Morgan.
No, that's a valid answer. I'm going with Troy. I think he kind of carried Holding On to Strings with some of his parts. I mean, I know a lot of people hate him for obvious reasons, but I don't think you can deny the talent. I think he kind of did for that album what Pat did for Karma.
Let's break that down a little bit, because not everybody knows who he was. Troy, he was the one. He's the Evanescence guy, right? I get him and somebody else mixed up.
Yeah, that'd be the one. He's only on Holding On to Strings. He left like right before it came out.
Yeah, and he went and started touring with Evanescence, and I think everybody does know the history there. Sean Morgan and Amy Lee righteously pissed Sean off. He called it a little anti-Sean club over there. Have not seen those two together in 20 years, and they probably haven't seen each other either.
Although I do think Troy's probably best known for that incredible lead guitar riff on Careless Whisper. What a genius idea, turning that saxophone into like a shred guitar.
I know, that was fucking awesome. To answer your question though, favorite lead guitarist, probably, or you said it could be somebody that's toured with him too, probably Corey.
Yeah.
I don't think he's technically the best by a fucking long shot, but I love his energy. I think he can see that Sean's not really bringing a huge presence to the stage. Maybe I'm reading too much into something, but it seems like he tries to kind of make up for it. He's very animated. He's throwing pics. He's talking to people. He's very, very active on social media. He just seems like a really fucking cool dude.
Oh, I totally agree. The only thing is, okay, I think he did a little bit better on Surface with the leads, but and this is coming from someone who loves Parabellum, but like a lot of those like lead guitars, especially in the choruses, kind of became indistinguishable. Now it might have just been a writing problem because of Sean, if anything, but I don't think he really brought much to Parabellum, to be quite honest.
I feel like I want to argue with you. I want to say he did, but I don't know. I don't know that I could pinpoint something that's more Corey than Sean.
Yeah, if anything, like a lot of those leads, like in songs like "Can't Go Wrong" or "Beg," those all sound like Sean, really, to be honest.
Yeah. I didn't much care for his brother. His brother Clint Lowry toured with Seether during like the Parish era.
I know,
met him.
You met him?
Yeah, I met Clint, and he was friendly enough. You know, we talked shit for a minute, but just didn't really have a big energy. I mean, I stick my foot in my mouth, but I mean, he really came across as like super pretentious to me.
Nah, that's annoying. I mean, he did do great stuff in Seven Dust, but
yeah, very fucking talented guitar player.
I would say him and the guitarist from Stained, Mike Mushak, whatever his name is. Those are probably the best two guitarists in the genre, like talent wise.
For sure, Mike is so underrated.
Absolutely, yeah. Because Stained kind of gets a bad rap because of Aaron Lewis and all that, but fuck, like Mike was doing stuff that like no one else was doing in the scene, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I had Now by Stained, if ever you've heard that on just repeat earlier. Just incredible work.
Yeah, for sure.
Chris, me and Ricky are exhausted. We have a reason to be low energy. You haven't said much. Are you good over there?
No, I don't really have a comment on that because I'm real picky with rock music. So
me too.
Pretty much the only other rock bands that I listen to, Tool, Chevelle, pretty basic. I used to listen to Stained a long time ago, but this might anger some people, but I feel like Stained is a bootleg version of Seether.
Really? They started first, though.
I don't know. It's like, if I'm listening to Stained, I'd rather get like the real thing and listen to Seether. But
that's fair enough. Me. From Stained,
I can go ahead, Ricky.
From Stained, I pretty much only like Dysfunction and Break the Cycle. Anything after that, I can kind of take and leave. But like, there's definitely some similarities. Like, I always thought the song Pig, that riff, that sounds like a Stained riff to me.
I think, first of all, I think Sean and Aaron Lewis are a mite bit similar. They can definitely do they have some very similar presentations with their vocals sometimes. And they are both fucking ornery old fat bastards, respectfully, Sean.
I'd like to think Sean's not quite as much of an asshole.
Aaron Lewis, he's kind of like Corey Taylor. His brand is being a dick and a Republican recently.
Yeah, but at least like Corey Taylor's funny and you can make fun of. There's nothing appealing about Aaron Lewis as a person.
No, I definitely think not. You remember did you ever see the thing with the coyotes?
No.
God, this is supposed to be the Seether show, but let's just fucking detour real quick.
Okay.
Aaron Lewis was out. He was culling coyotes. Has to be done. Protect the fucking ecosystem. I don't like it, but, whatever. He took all these dead coyotes and he spelled out Trump, as in like Donald Trump, with the bodies, and took a picture of it, like for social media or whatever. What kind of psychotic shit is that? Who the fuck does that? Like it might have said like Trump 24. I can't remember, but like I don't know. I think a lot of people have tried to forget it because it was a very unpleasant thing to open Instagram to in the morning.
Well, can chalk it up to he's just a crazy person who happened to have one talent in life, you know.
Yeah, I suppose. Anyway,
But yeah,
they've
Chris.
definitely
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Morgan.
real quick. They've definitely had some good music. I think Ricky, you should definitely give their newer album, Confessions of the Fallen, a try. It's very good. Definitely one of those cases where I have to separate the artist from the art.
Okay, yeah, I had heard some good things about it. I did like Lowest in Me and Better Days, but I don't really know much from the album. And actually, I lied. Their 2011 album had some bangers on it. Not everything, because that's the album that had Wannabe, and that song sucks. But
Yeah,
there's some good stuff on that album.
yeah, but Stained has very high highs and a lot of lows, whereas Seether is a little bit more consistent. Even at their lowest, they're good. And I
I
don't know that you could say the same about Stained.
I agree. Like what I would consider Cedar's worst album, Isolate and Medicate, I'd listen to that over like a lot of these other bands like best albums, you know.
It isn't Isolate like a huge hit for you, Chris? Is that
No, it used to be my least favorite, but I'm kind of coming around on it. Lyrically, I think it's pretty similar to Parabellum. Um, Poison the Parish is probably my least favorite, and I was real crazy when it came out. I got like one of their merch packages. It was like a signed poster, a little wooden crate thing.
I remember those packages. I almost got the one with the guitar, and I regret to this day not buying it.
I missed that whole era. That was probably the lowest point in my Seether fandom in like the last 15 years. So I know surprisingly little about that album. I had heard Let You Down and Betray and Degrade and wasn't really feeling it. I didn't even listen to the album until Parabellum came out, and that reignited my interest in Seether again. And yeah, just recently, I think I was telling you guys a while ago. I listened to the last three albums back to back to back, and
Mhm.
and it made like, Surface Team so far really grew on me, but Poison the Parish got like even worse for me. When you hear all 15 songs in a row, it's so boring. Because it's all like the same riff, copy and paste. I mean, the energy's there, the performances are passionate. I'll give them that, but the songwriting is just severely lacking compared to even the latest two, I think.
I'm going to touch on Isolate very quickly and then talk about Parish some.
Sure.
Um, you were talking about Isolate used to be, kind of your least favorite, Chris. It is probably my least favorite to this day.
Mine too.
It feels like Isolate and Medicate does not really commit to anything. It's just kind of right in the middle. Its highs aren't very high. It's definitely got some lows. There are so many songs in there, like maybe Nobody Praying and Suffer at All, that should hit so much harder than they do. Even Sean has kind of joked about that and kind of mocked the Suffer at All riff, kind of just um, not really having that impact that he wanted it to. I wish that he would re-record some of those songs, but it's never going to happen. Uh, as
Yeah, I mean
for
they were supposed to re-record I think the songs from Disclaimer, or maybe it was Holding on to Strings, or maybe
With,
it was
yeah,
Fragile. I
wait,
don't know.
re-record or just remaster?
I don't know. I thought I read something somewhere. I'll have to look it up.
Sean said something about wanting to. He didn't specify exactly what he wanted to do, but he said something to the effect of like go back and show some of those songs like some love, touch them up a little bit and make them bring them more in line, with the way I wanted them presented. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't know if he wanted to re-record or just remaster or what.
Maybe we'll get that around the same time we get the Sarin Gas box set.
Yeah, around the same fucking time hell freezes over, I suppose. Anyway, as for Parrish, definitely a favorite of mine.
Mhm.
But that's the sentiment among the community, right? Is that Parrish, whereas something like Surface ages kind of like a fine wine and it gets a little better over time, Parrish seems to have gone just down, down, down for everybody that revisits it. Personally, I don't really see that. I think there are individual songs that have certainly aged kind of poorly for me, like uh, Betray and Degrade. I just maybe I've just heard too much of it. Um, but I took it out on my playlist recently. Don't really much care to hear it, and I think it's a great song. I love the video too. But there's
It's a little
yeah,
too playful for my liking, a little too isolated and medicated, if you will.
yeah, I
Yeah, I
can
feel
definitely
like
understand that.
Poison the Parish is kind of like this blend of Isolate and Medicate and their new sound.
Mhm.
I'm not sure what you guys think about that.
I agree. Um,
Yeah,
I could
uh,
I could see a song like "Let Me Heal" be like a really boring B-side from like "Holding On to Strings" as well.
I love Let Me Heal though. I can
Really?
understand. Yeah, I can understand why you wouldn't like it. I'll give you that. But it's one of those songs that's really kind of driven by the drums. I feel like,
Mm,
and I just it's got such a moody vibe about it. I really like it. And when you get to the middle, and it's got this kind of quick little it's got this kind of atmospheric little build up, and then it just kind of explodes with like the full band and the bridge. It I wish I could fucking pull up the part I'm talking about because it's one of the few parts in their discography that like still gives me goosebumps when I listen to it. Love that fucking song.
I can see what you're saying, and that's fair, but that didn't quite hit for me like later songs that sounded like that one did, like "Leave Me Be" and "Written in Stone." I think those are much better for that kind of sound.
Yeah, they I think like Leave Me Be is kind of the perfection of that kind of atmospheric vibe with like a really kind of chaotic kind of explosion in the back half, I guess.
The drums are awesome in that song.
They're so fucking good. Um,
Yeah, speaking of atmosphere, Tied My Hands, the sarin gas version.
it's so good.
Yeah, it's almost surprising when you think about it. Like, you wouldn't think a song, that good, that atmospheric, to come from that album. I mean, that album sounds real garage bandy, real
Yeah,
rough.
That's
but I
that's
mean,
that's a beautiful song, but I've always been more of a dazed and abused kind of guy. That's the emo kid that still lives in me, I guess. But I think that's such a beautiful, delicate piece of work.
do you have like a crazy emo phase, Ricky? I can't see it.
I did when I was a teenager. Yeah.
That's crazy. I cannot see it at all. I guess I kind of did. I had like the eyeliner and shit for a while.
Oh, for real.
Yeah. I mean, at one point I had like long red middle part hair, like
Mm.
classic Shawn Morgan style. Anyway, back to Paris just a little bit. Uh, it definitely it did a lot for me. It's one of those albums very similar to Parabellum and Surface, where it just hit at precisely the right time for me. Um, I love that album. However, if you try to play "Feels Like Dying" to me, I'm gonna skip that shit immediately. Did not care for it. Boo to "Feels Like Dying" or boo to me disliking it.
No, the feels like dying. That song. That's probably in like their top 10 worst songs. I think it feels like it goes on forever. It feels like I'm dying listening to it. to it.
Yeah, I suppose so. However, we want to talk about songs that have just this crazy, frenetic, just laying all the fucking energy out on the table in the back half. Oh, Ricky, your drift away slander does not fucking sit well with me. I tell you that I adore that fucking song.
I like that song. I call it the worst of the 21 songs on Parabellum. That doesn't mean it's bad. I still think it's better than like half of Poison the Parish. It's just kind of like a C tier sort of song for me. It didn't make that much of an impression, but it's got great lyrics and everything. It's just so long, you know.
I don't mind that. I would put it in B or maybe even A for that. Just who are you, to let me bleed or to set me free.
And to be fair, I think it was too close in the track list to Failure, and it sounds a lot like that song. So I think my first impression of it wasn't that great, and that kind of always stuck.
I understand. I see. Um, there was another song that I wanted to mention, and I completely forgot what it was. You have any particular thoughts on Drift Away, Chris?
See, I'm gonna get hate for saying this
My bad.
because I'm Seether Central or whatever, but I mentioned it before. Certain points sound a little squealy. It's
Like,
still a good song. Like bad Seether songs are still good songs. It's just
That's why we listen.
I always thought like the verses part or like the first half of the song, it sounds like it could be sung like in a musical or something when someone's like down on their luck. You know what I mean?
I cannot be hearing all that right now. Absolutely not. Drift Away is my wife's favorite song on Parabellum, Ricky, and she's probably going to come like beat you with a rock or something for slandering it.
No, I understand. I kind of always point to that one as like, really, that made the album with all the like amazing deluxe songs. Like, why didn't On My Way get some love?
Yeah. I can definitely see the appeal of it. Sometimes when I'm in a certain mood, I might listen to it, but Failure, day to day, it doesn't get much play from me. Sean said it was like his favorite on the album. He said he had a good time trying to kind of figure out the guitar parts for it. And I can definitely understand that. It's definitely very fun to play. I like to play it on my acoustic. I think it takes on a very nice vibe that way. But I just never really cared for it that much.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I like it. It's like maybe a slight step above Drift Away for me. It's probably my second least favorite on the album. I really like the verses, but by the time it gets to the bridge, it just kind of is that generic-y guitar sound. And I think the chorus is a little overrated too.
Yeah, I do. I really love the verses though.
Yeah, me too. That's the best part of the song for sure. Which is often the case with Seether.
Yeah. I feel like Sean would have a fucking stroke trying to perform Failure live with the kind of weird, like lyrical, or with the weird verses.
Yeah, definitely, because some parts are like kind of like syncopated, so I imagine that'd be difficult to pull off live.
Yeah, I just want to see more of Surface live. Hell, more Parabellum too. Like, I would die happy.
We might get Walls Come Down live soon.
It's better than nothing. I'll take it.
I don't agree. Well, other than Out of My Way, I call Walls Come Down the worst song in their discography. Of course, that's subjective. I know a lot of people like it. I'm not trying to hate.
Other than what?
Out of My Way, that soundtrack song from Disclaimer 2, where he sounds like he has a cold.
Oh, okay. I misheard you. All right. So Walls Come Down, like worst in their discography with On My Way. Am I getting that right now? Or not On My Way, Out of My Way?
Yeah, we can throw Same Mistakes in there too, I think.
I like Same Mistakes.
Not
I think it's
Simplest Mistake.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, Sean.
That is a monster of a song.
Right. Simplest Mistake is so fucking good.
Hell yeah.
I hate that Same Mistakes didn't really resonate with a lot of people. It is definitely on the very, very basic end of their discography, along with songs like kind of Something Else, musically. But we talk about mental health in kind of allegory and reference, a lot of time. We don't want to talk about it directly because, ooh, that's ugly. I don't want to touch that. But for a song to directly be like, I keep making the same mistakes, or, I keep taking the same mistake, I'm abusing my mental health. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I can certainly give them credit for that. It's just, for me, lyrics really are kind of secondary to like the music. Like lyrics only resonate with me if I like the sonic sounds going on. Otherwise, I'll just read a poem at that point. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's the root of a lot of our disagreements. I think I'm the other way around. If I really resonate with the lyrics, I'm going to enjoy the song.
That's fair. I see that. You make me feel like.
Stop. I cannot take it. And I think Walls Come Down's fine too. I mean, I wouldn't have chosen it for the third single, but
I thought it was gonna be Lost All Control.
it. Okay, so me and you were talking about this in the subreddit. I think it was gonna be like. I don't think they played it at the Sirius XM show for no reason. I think that they were gonna pick it for the third single. It was a good candidate. It's easy enough to play live. I I think the decision to go with Walls Come Down was last minute.
Yeah, because for some reason, bassist Dale Stewart really advocated for it.
Yeah, he said as much. He was pulling for it because he wanted to play it live. I will say the best part of Walls Come Down is during the solo. It's very simple. It's a very rock band solo, but it's got kind of its highs, and in between those, there's this kind of interplay with the guitar and bass going back and forth, kind of this little call and response, like kind of sprinkled throughout the solo. I think that is really, really nice. All those kind of parts dancing around. It if not for that, then I probably wouldn't listen to the song at all.
It's hard to tell that that's going on though with the mix though, where like on Carmen Effect you can really pick up on those little subtleties.
Yeah, for sure. And that will remain that album's biggest criticism for the rest of forever. What needs to change, right? We all agree that the production, like sonically, does not sound great. There's whole guitar parts. For example, there's a really, really nice rhythm guitar part in Dead on the Vine that completely elevates the whole song, in my opinion. It makes it sound so much fucking better. My wife listened to it for 2 or 3 months, never fucking noticed it. She put on a new pair of headphones one day and had them really fucking blaring, and she was like, "Wait a minute," and I had to come and like tell me about it and shit. What the? Where is the breakdown? Like, why is the production not getting better?
The one thing I did like about the production that might be kind of a hot take is I do. My complaints about the mix are purely instrumental. I love the way the vocals are mixed on the album. I feel like Sean's voice sounds really like eerie and has like a haunting vibe and stuff. And I don't usually say this with artists, but the more vocal effects on him, the better. It makes the whole song like really a vibe, I think.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't want to. He's got like a really powerful delivery. I wouldn't want to interfere with that too much, but sometimes it helps to build like the atmosphere. I think Sean also had a lot of range in his performance and Surface. Like he didn't do like the falsettos and some of the higher notes like he has done in the past, but it's not all just the really grovelly, like spiteful anger. There was also some kind of singing from a little higher in the register and singing a little more smoothly, I guess you would say.
Some of those moments got a little grating though, depending on the song though. Like in Semblance of Me, that part where he's like, "I'll just keep them inside of me." like no, like just please, come on, man. You were doing fine before.
I didn't mind it. I did love the intro to that song.
Yeah,
However, I guess I'll make you nervous.
See, that was the song I was most excited for, just based on title. But
Yeah.
I think it's my least favorite from that album.
really?
Mine too.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. It's kind of middle of the road for me. It might be like 7th or 8th out of the 11th for me. The song I was looking forward to the most was Paint the World, and I do like it. It's got an awesome bridge section, but I feel like it's another song that relies too much on the chorus. Like we could have shaved like 30 to 45 seconds off of that song, I think.
That's the one from the album I think I want them to play the most live. That whole bridge section and shit live would go fucking crazy.
Yeah, that is true. It does seem like a kind of song that would get the crowd moving and everything.
Um, Yeah, it's got an energy, but not at the cost of that Seether atmosphere.
Yeah,
Um,
if I had to critique that song, I would say the chorus is kind of like a filler, I guess you could say. It's pretty
there's a
basic.
lot of that with Seether songs. A chorus that's just there to get through the song.
A song like "Fade Out" from Holding On to Strings might be the most notorious example I can think of. Or how about "Nobody Praying for Me"? I'd argue even that chorus is just like very basic and boring compared to like what they were going for with the rest of it.
I love that chorus though. I mean, my opinion might be skewed from seeing it live though. And, having the crowd chant that, nobody gives a fuck is just very, very nice.
Yeah, no, I do understand that it's a whole atmosphere live, but
Um, I was gonna say something about, I think it was Surface, but I completely fucking lost it.
I feel like on the sub, and maybe it's because like a lot of us are younger and maybe didn't grow up with it, but I feel like not there's not even a lot of talk about Disclaimer anymore. And like if you're talking about like just Disclaimer one and not the deluxe tracks, that's like a perfect album from front to back, and nobody really talks about it anymore. It's always just all about like Karma and Effect, I feel.
Yeah. Um, a lot of people do put that like kind of on the pedestal as like their best work, but Disclaimer is a perfect album. It's got highs and lows and plenty of perfect delivery in between.
I feel like because like I mean, I force all the people in my life to I know to listen to Seether at one point or another, and usually Disclaimer gets the most like positive response from people who like have never heard Seether aside from maybe a few hits, but that seems to resonate with people the most and be the most accessible album.
Yeah. Um, Chris, are you old enough? Like, did you see Disclaimer in like its prime, or did you come around after?
You would have been like a 5 year old.
No, I'm only 27. I got into Seether around Holding On to Strings.
That's about when I got into them too. I remember hearing Tonight on the radio, and I looked more into them. And because I thought they would be a band kind of like Lifehouse or Matchbox 20 just based on that one song, but then I'm like, oh my god, they're like a rock band. This is awesome. I would hear songs like Remedy.
I I just want to see them reach their full potential so bad. Like Sean is so capable. He really people kind of shit on his guitar playing a little bit, but he's a really good fucking guitar player. Like if you really break it down and look at some of the stuff that he can do and that he has done live, a lot of it's very middle of the road. But when he applies himself, he can do some really incredible shit. And vocally, his range and his delivery is fucking perfect. Like
It's gotten
he's
gotten
such
so
unique.
much better over time too. Like those screams like in Pride Before the Fall, you probably wouldn't have been able to do that 15 years ago.
No. Um, or he's done these kind of falsetto, these high parts like in Liar or Regret or Words as Weapons. Those are great. The kind of grovel that he has in his voice on a song like Dead on the Vine is amazing. Or the kind of it's not something objective that I can point to, but it's an energy, the kind of haunting presence that he has on his voice in a song like Lost All Control when he says, "What have I done to myself?" That is it just resonates in a way that I cannot even fucking put to words.
You're absolutely right. And same about the guitar. I mean, I think Finding Beauty proves that he's a solid guitarist. I mean, he did every song on that album except for Waste. And
Very precise picking. He's good at improvising.
definitely, I think it might honestly just be the confines of the genre more than anything. Because if he was like making other types of music, we'd probably see some crazy shit from him.
Maybe so. And he's expressed interest in that. I don't think he'll ever do it, but he's kind of wondered, what if I were in something where I weren't the vocalist, or what if I just went and, played guitar?
You never say never, but I just get the feeling these days he wants to distance himself from music more and more over time.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess if I had seen and done everything that he had, and if I had kids, including an infant boy at home, I might feel the same. I don't know.
Yeah, and he's not on all the drugs that made him want to go out and perform over 200 nights a year anymore.
Yeah, thank fucking God. I love seeing the dude fucking healthy.
Yeah,
Like
me
the
too.
last 5 years or so, he has just been so like full of life. Whereas if you look at him in like 2009, where he was just delivering fucking ragers back to back, he looked kind of ghoulish.
Yeah, that is true. And it's funny because like kind of the softest albums, I'd say, Holding on to Strings and Isolate and Medicate, those were like his most like depressed times, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Um, we are getting up there in time. About time to wrap it up, I would say. Uh, just for everybody at home, I want to go ahead and very quickly plug all those things that we were talking about last time we sat down. We do want to share this show with everybody. We do want to invite kind of guests to come in. If you're on Instagram or Reddit and you got something that you want to speak into the Seether community, I guess, then, message Chris or myself. Be very happy to have you on. Subscribe to Seether Central, Chris's YouTube channel. Join us in the subreddit for all the hot takes and rankings and whatnot. Am I leaving anything out, boys?
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
I'd love to have a night DJ, nightlife on.
Nope.
I would love that too.
Nope. I have some kind of veto power, I'm assuming, and I am exercising it. You watch this night DJ, JD, whatever, get out of here.
You don't understand. It'd be great. We'd shut him down.
No, I'm sure if he were to join, there would be some very fun discussion in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I do even feel like a camaraderie with him. He's been around since like as long as I have, at least.
Somebody that says that they are not excited for new material because they are trying to be preemptively disappointed. That's bad vibes, DJ. Anyway, that does it for this episode. Everybody have a good night. It was very nice sitting down. Next time we sit down, we'll talk a little bit more about the band, maybe about some producers. Might even talk about these bonus tracks that we're supposed to be getting here in the spring, I believe. You guys have a good night, all right?